All right, all right. Welcome. We have a special guest today. This is the first interview that we have done on the Scoop Around the Loop. Zach, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Zack Miller, the owner of 4G Installation. I install floating and all pre-finished hardwood floors.
And I think the story behind your name, how you picked 4G, is kind of cool. So do you want to kind of explain that?
Yeah, 4G stands for fourth generation. Yeah, my great grandparents owned a flooring store in Fairbank in Iowa. And then my great grandfather started doing installs, and he taught my grandfather, obviously. And then my grandfather went to the Navy, and then he worked for John Deere for a while, and then he came back to flooring, and then he did that up until he retired. And then my dad had some other jobs and stuff, and then he took off on his flooring company and started doing installs. And I worked with him basically every summer since I think, maybe I was like 12, 13 years old. And then as of 2018, I started my own flooring installation company.
So you've been installing flooring now off and on for 22 years. How old are you? 21?
33. Yeah.
Did that just make you feel really old? I apologize.
Yeah. No, I don't sit back and do the math very often, but every now and again, when people ask, like, how long have you had your company? I'm like, wow, has it been that long?
Yeah, 7 years now. It feels like you just started it. But
It,
yeah, it's
yeah, trust me, I feel the same, but it's been going good.
you kind of talked about it a little bit, but you're just on the install side. Do you want to just briefly go over what all you handle in the process if someone is looking to get flooring installed in their home?
Yeah, sure. So basically, you can contact me before you've even gone shopping or anything like that for what kind of flooring. Um, and then I'll come out and I'll give you an estimate on, what your labor costs are going to be. And then also, I will do the measuring for you to let you know how much you need. I provide a full materials list on everything that's going to be needed for the project. To do it, however you want to do it. And then since I do uh, residential remodels, I offer a lot of services on additional things like pulling and putting back toilets. I do trim work such as base shoe and stuff like that. I do demo and all those kinds of things. So I kind of go over with everybody what I can feasibly do for them, and then they can kind of pick and choose whether, some people want to do their own demolition or move their own furniture, things like that. So yeah, I do a little bit of everything from start to finish on a project.
So basically, if someone wanted a new flooring installed and that's all they wanted done in a room, all that they would have to handle is figuring out where they wanted to get the materials. Otherwise, you can pick up the rest of it, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. There might be some materials that I might have you purchase beforehand, such as like subflooring, or if we're having to do something like that. Or otherwise, I can pick up those materials and then we just figure it into your costs and stuff like that.
Okay. And then in an ideal world, if someone wants to work with you, someone wants you to be their flooring installer, reach out to you first, probably, and have you measure out, walk out the project, and give them advice on what they should be looking for.
Yeah, yeah. Typically, a lot of people they contact me pretty much, they've been thinking about doing a new floor, they've been shopping a little bit, and then I can kind of come out, and if you have an idea of what kind of materials you want to put in, I can either advise you, what certain brands or things like that, and then I can give you an idea of what the project would look like before you move forward into, tearing stuff out or things like that.
Just kind of curious, is there ever been a situation where someone had something in mind and it just wasn't even feasible?
Yeah, some people have certain products that just might not work in a certain area, or it's not a good idea to do it in certain areas. A lot of times it has to do with the environment that they're wanting to put the floor in, such as like wood flooring in bathrooms, with a full shower and stuff like that. Wood and humidity just doesn't mix. um and then also, wood flooring in basements and stuff like that. There's been some ideas, or people want the flooring to go a certain way, which it just can't due to how it has to be installed and stuff like that.
That I've been recently seeing a lot of like new construction builders install like that luxury vinyl tile. Have you seen that?
Yeah, the luxury vinyl tile look.
Yeah, yeah, you could
Uh-huh.
install that as well, correct?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, cool. And when, as far as you kind of touched on it a little bit too, but as far as like the real hardwood versus like a luxury vinyl tile or a luxury vinyl plank, what kind of advice do you give people when they're comparing those two? Like, when's it advantageous to do hardwood? When's it advantageous to do a luxury vinyl plank?
A lot of times it has to do with your lifestyle. Woods are amazing, but they do have their drawbacks, and they're very, very expensive. So in some cases, let's say you got 4 kids, 2 big dogs, stuff like that. I might push you more towards a luxury vinyl plank. They're easier to maintain. They're less temperamental, stuff like that. And then they are a little bit more cost effective, because if you do have, a bunch of kids or dogs or stuff like that, damages very well can happen. And then it's on the less expensive side, instead of, something super expensive that when you damage it, it could be a big, big problem.
What are your like disadvantages of luxury vinyl plank? Because it's getting installed more and more, so I'm assuming for most case scenarios, it's the right option for most people. But what are the disadvantages that you see to having that in?
Um, so some disadvantages are, is there, when if there is damage, they can be a little bit more difficult to fix and replace. Um, One of the, I guess, maybe disadvantages but differences is that there's actually two types of luxury vinyl plank, and it's called an SPC versus a WPC.
Okay.
And so what we're seeing is that the WPC products are holding up a lot better than the SPC products, and that's because they have a different core to them. They're a little bit more rigid, um, and then they're a thicker floor, so it's just overall performing better.
Does
Um,
that like this sounds might sound really dumb to you, or you might know exactly what I'm talking about. Does that get that more hardwood feel when you're walking on it too? Because sometimes I've walked through luxury vinyl plank and it just like I don't know if it's because it's a floating floor that was installed or what, but it just feels kind of like cheap. You
mhm,
know what I'm talking about?
I do, yeah. Yeah, so the WPC products, they seem to have more of a lot better wood feel, and they look a lot better too, I think. They can have a little bit more of that natural wood grain in it that a real wood floor would have. Um, SPC products, they can be good, but they are a little bit more scratch and dent resistant, but we're seeing their locking mechanisms fail more and more. So then you get gapping and stuff like that.
Gapping, buckling, and more stuff like that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I think that's all I have as far as asking you questions about the business. And I have kind of a lightning round plan to talk more about what you love about the Des Moines area, because I know you grew up in Norwalk
Hmm.
and now you live in Ankeny, and I know you have a lot of opinions about local spots. And this podcast is very, very focused on just getting people to know the area really, really well. Are you game to kind of go through a lightning round of like your favorite spots to go to and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely. But they vary all the time.
Okay. I think I can predict your answer for this, but I know because of the job you do, you're kind of all over the Des Moines metro. you've taken some really long trips before too. If you're, what place are you most excited to be close to get lunch?
Ooh, they're both really close to each other, but it's got to be either Manhattan Deli or Lachelle's.
I was gonna guess Manhattan Deli. I didn't know Lachelle's was getting so high up on your ranking.
Oh, it is up there. The only problem I have is do I want to battle the line and crowd and everything or not? You know?
I I think I need to verify this really quick. I think they just opened up a new spot.
They did on Euclid, I believe, over by Chuck's.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And
Trust me, I'm
I think it's
plugged
a little bigger.
in.
So it's a little bigger and they updated the menu, I believe, as well too. They added more stuff to it.
Yeah, so they're only doing 2 burgers there, and then the rest of it's like classic diner stuff.
Yeah, because I saw on the local food group, someone posted a picture of their fish and chips meal, and it looks so good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm friends or I'm a member in like every Des Moines food group you could possibly think of. I'm always looking for new restaurants.
Or just looking for people to complain unnecessarily.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Those are one of my favorites.
All right, if you and your wife Allie are going out to dinner for a fancy dinner, what's your favorite spot?
It might not be particularly fancy per se. It's old school, but I gotta say my favorite is Tamaya and Sons.
Okay, you've mentioned that multiple times. I still have yet to be there.
Oh,
Like,
but it's got that nostalgia for me too, because you remember growing up in Norwalk, there weren't a ton of restaurants, and then before Jordan Creek came, like you had to go to the South Side for everything. So we
hmm
would, we wanted Italian. It was going to Tamaya's, so I've been going there since I was real young, and then it was
your
one of the
parents weren't
first dates I took Allie on.
your parents weren't taking you to coming to go to Bambino's. Is that what that place? Yeah, that's what that place was called.
I
Right.
don't remember ever going there. They were like, "No, we're going to Tamaya's."
Okay. All right. What about dessert? What's your favorite dessert spot?
Ooh, right now it's Uptown Creamery, an ice cream shop over here in Ankeny.
Town Creamery. All right. I will have to stop by there the
Oh,
next time I am in Ankeny
well,
because
yeah,
I love a good ice cream spot.
right, and it's 15-minute walk from my house, so you don't feel as guilty if you walk there.
Well, it's funny you say that because I've already talked about it on the podcast, but Black Cat just opened in Valley Junction,
Uh-huh. I
and
Yeah, I've still
Jen and I
yet
have
to be
already
to
walked
Black
down there
Cat.
twice.
Yeah, I've still haven't been to Black Cat.
Dude, it's small batch. It's so good.
Yeah,
It's he makes it right there too. I mean, it's just
yeah.
oh, I love it so much. Okay, Ankeny. This doesn't have to be a restaurant, but where do you guys find yourself going to close to where you live? You don't have to give out your address or anything, but we're not going to dox you. But where do you guys find yourself going to a lot? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a restaurant.
I feel like I'm at Menards the most, but ah, we really just like going to that whole uptown area.
I
I
was
mean,
gonna say I can't imagine you not going to that market a lot because that farmers market's getting pretty big, isn't it?
it is. The only wish I had is that it's all like little local shops, but there's not as much produce as you would think and stuff like that.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, neither is the. I mean, the Des Moines one is decent, and it's the biggest farmers market, obviously, in the area,
Mhm.
but they don't have a ton of that either. And
You gotta
then,
go early, early, early.
yeah, yeah, and then the Valley Junction one. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 stands consistently, but they still don't have a ton.
No, Valley
Maybe,
Junction one to me seems like it's like a street party with the side of farmers market.
yeah, yeah, I would, which I'm not complaining because it's fun.
No. I mean, it's a great time, but nobody's going there being like, "Oh yeah, I'm really gonna get some good shopping done." They're like, "Oh no, 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 there's a band."
Okay, any other local spots you want to shout out before we're done with
Oh,
the
sorry, I didn't even really shout one out. I guess the farmers market's cool. West 40 Meat Market. They're really good.
Okay. All right. All
That's in
right.
uptown area.
All right. I apologize because I didn't talk to you about this before we started recording, but it's not going to cost you any money. So
All right.
we're trying to get this podcast more shares, more subscribers and stuff like that. And I want to get your page followed as well too and get attention to your business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this episode a week. And if you share and like the podcast and like Zach's page, 4G Flooring Installation, you're going to get put into a drawing to get $200 off of your next project with Zach. So,
Absolutely. Sounds
yeah,
great to me.
Zach sounds pretty excited about this as well, too. So, I'm going to go ahead in the comments. I'm going to tag Zach's page and tag the Scoop Around the Loop page. Just share this post and follow those two pages. You will be entered into the drawing to win. And
Uh,
we're going to announce on Sunday the winner.
yeah. It gives me a week to update my Facebook profile page. I haven't done that in quite a while. The projects that look real old, they look real good, but and trust me, I've only gotten better. So
The problem is you always show up and start working immediately that you forget to take the before pictures.
oh yeah, every single picture there's some portion of it torn out. It's never as I rolled into the job site.
You need to set that like a reminder on your phone.
Yeah, I've tried that. It doesn't work. uh, I'm so excited to get up and get going, I don't got time for pictures.
Well, and it's not like you're your own boss, so you don't get paid hourly. You get paid based on the project.
Yeah,
So,
and I am no photographer by any stretch of the imagination. So
all right, Zach, I appreciate you coming on. And like I said, if you share this post and like both of those pages, you will be entered into a drawing to win $200 off your next flooring project that you have with Zach. So be sure to share and follow the podcast for more updates. So thank you guys.
hey,